If you woke up right now, in the middle of the night, for no reason you can explain, this is for you. Some people call it nothing, just a random hour, a light sleeper, too much on your mind. But some people who have prayed for a long time will tell you that 3 a.m. has a way of finding the people it needs to find. Not to frighten you, to meet you. This is Psalm 91. It was written for people who lie down in dangerous places and still find their way to sleep. Let it settle over you now, word by word, the way it was meant to be prayed, not rushed through, not skimmed, prayed. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Notice where the psalm begins, not with the danger, with the dwelling place. Before it ever names what might come against you, it tells you where you already live. Under the shadow, in the secret place, close enough to feel his shade before you even ask for it. That is not a location you earn by having a good day, a strong faith, a clean track record this week. It is a place you return to every single night, no matter how the day went, no matter what woke you tonight. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him I will trust. Say it, not think it silently, not assume it's obvious. Say it, the way the psalmist did, out loud if you can, quietly if you can't. There is something different that happens in a body, in a mind, when a truth is spoken instead of only believed. Try it now. He is my refuge. A fortress is not a comfortable metaphor. It is not soft. A fortress exists because something real is trying to get in. If you feel like you are under some kind of siege tonight, emotionally, physically, spiritually, this verse is not surprised by that. It simply tells you where the walls already are. Surely he shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the perilous pestilence. A snare is not obvious. That's what makes it dangerous. It is not a wall you can see coming, not an enemy standing in the open. It's hidden, waiting, disguised as something ordinary until it isn't. Maybe that is exactly what this week has felt like, something that looked fine until it wasn't. He shall cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you shall take refuge. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. Feathers, wings. This is not the image of a distant God managing the universe from somewhere far away, checking in occasionally. This is the image of a mother bird pulling her young in close, near enough to feel the heartbeat, near enough that nothing reaches you without going through her first. Think about what it means to be covered, specifically, by feathers. Not iron, not stone, something warm, something living, something that moves with you as you shift and turn in your sleep tonight. That is the kind of covering being offered here. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. Two different pieces of armor, named on purpose. A shield you hold in front of you, against what you can see coming. A buckler, smaller, quicker, strapped close to the body, for what comes at you fast, from an angle you didn't expect. Both are covered. The slow threats and the sudden ones. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flies by day. The terror by night. Whoever wrote this knew exactly what it is to lie awake while the house is quiet and the mind will not stop circling. The thoughts that only seem to visit after midnight. The fears that feel small and manageable in daylight and enormous, almost physical, at 3 in the morning. He named it. On purpose. Not vaguely, not in general terms, but specifically the terror by night. Because he wants you to know that this particular fear, the one visiting you right now, has a name in Scripture, and it does not have the final word over you. The arrow that flies by day, different from the terror by night, this is the sudden thing, the phone call you didn't expect, the diagnosis, the news, the moment that ambushes an otherwise normal afternoon. Both are covered here. What creeps up slowly in the dark and what strikes suddenly in the light. Nor of the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor of the destruction that lays waste at noonday. Even the specific hours are named. darkness, and noonday. There is no gap in this covering, no hour of the day or night where you are left exposed while he looks the other way. Whatever hour it is for you right now, this verse already accounted for it. 1,000 may fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near you. Read this one slowly because it is easy to misunderstand. This is not a promise that trouble will disappear from around you. Look closely at what it actually says. 1,000 may fall at your side. The chaos is real. People around you may be struggling, falling, breaking, even as you read this. The world does not stop being hard because you are praying tonight, but there is a difference between what happens around you and what has permission to reach you, to take your peace, to define your night. You are not promised an easy world. You are promised a covered life inside a hard one. That distinction matters more than it might seem right now. Only with your eyes shall you look and see the reward of the wicked. Because you have made the Lord, who is my refuge, even the Most High, your dwelling place, no evil shall befall you, neither shall any plague come near your dwelling. Your dwelling. Not just you, standing alone and exposed, but your dwelling, the whole shape of your life, your home, the people who share it with you. This covering was never meant to be narrow. It extends to what you carry, to who you love, to the walls around the life you are building. For he shall give his angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. Charge, not a suggestion, not a general assignment, a charge, a specific order given to specific beings, about you, by name, tonight. You are not managing this alone at 3 a.m. while heaven looks the other way. Something unseen has been instructed, specifically, to keep you. They shall bear you up in their hands, lest you dash your foot against a stone. Think about the tenderness in that image. Not simply told to walk carefully, carried in hands over the specific places where you might stumble without even seeing the stone coming. You are not walking through this season unguarded, even in the parts of the path you can't see clearly. Sometimes the hardest nights are not the ones with an obvious crisis. They are the ones with small, hidden stones, the ones that would trip you up quietly if nobody was watching where your foot landed. Somebody is watching. Every single step, even the ones that don't feel significant enough to pray about. You shall tread upon the lion and the cobra, the young lion and the serpent you shall trample underfoot. Two different threats named here. The lion, obvious, loud, visible danger, the kind that announces itself. And the serpent, quiet, hidden, the kind that strikes before you even knew it was there. Whatever kind of threat you're facing tonight, whichever category it falls into, this verse says it ends up under your feet, not over your head. That does not mean it disappears the moment you finish this prayer. It means its size has been lied to you. Whatever has been terrifying you, whatever has had power over your sleep for weeks or months, it was never bigger than the one who covers you. Its power was always borrowed, never original. Now the voice of the psalm changes. Until this point, someone has been speaking about God, describing him from the outside. Now God speaks for himself, directly, in first person. Listen to the shift. Because he has set his love upon me, therefore I will deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. Set his love upon me. Not performed perfectly for me, not managed to avoid every mistake in my presence. Set his love. That is the only qualification named here, and it is available to you tonight regardless of how today went, regardless of what you didn't get right this week. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. Read that middle phrase again, slowly. I will be with him in trouble. Not, I will remove him from trouble before he ever feels it. Not, I will explain the trouble so thoroughly that it stops hurting. I will be with him, inside it, for as long as it takes. That is the actual promise for tonight, not the absence of hardship, but the presence of God fully inside the hardship, refusing to leave until it's finished doing whatever work it's doing, refusing to let you walk through it without Him beside you, step for step. With long life I will satisfy him and show him my salvation. Long life is not only about the number of years, it's about a life so filled, so satisfied by His presence, that its length becomes almost secondary to its depth. A short season lived close to Him can feel more full than a long one lived at a distance. That's the kind of satisfaction being promised here, tonight, in this exact hour. Let's slow down and sit with all of this a little longer, because a psalm this dense deserves more than a quick read-through before sleep. There's a reason this prayer keeps returning to images of covering, shelter, wings, shadow, instead of images of a battle already won, an enemy already destroyed. Maybe because most of us are not actually asking for the fight to be finished tonight. We are asking to not face it alone. There's a difference, and this psalm seems to understand that difference better than most prayers do. If you are the kind of person who needs to have everything resolved before you can rest, hear this gently, tonight specifically. Not everything you are carrying right now is yours to resolve before sleep. Some of it is simply yours to hand over, the way a tired child hands their whole body over to be carried, without needing to understand the route home first. The shepherd does not ask the sheep to draw the map. He only asks the sheep to stay close enough to follow. That is a much smaller task than the one you might be trying to carry alone right now, at this hour, in this bed, with this specific fear sitting on your chest. Think again about the image of feathers, of wings, because it is worth returning to. A bird does not protect its young by removing every possible threat from the entire forest. It protects them by staying close, by covering, by being the barrier between the danger and the small body underneath. That is a different kind of promise than the one we sometimes expect from God. Not the removal of every threat in the world. The covering, right here, right now, over you specifically. If your mind is still circling tonight, still running through every version of what could go wrong tomorrow, you don't have to fight each thought individually, one at a time, exhausting yourself trying to win every argument in your own head. You can simply say, quietly, in your own words, using whatever language feels true to you right now, not tonight. That belongs to tomorrow. Tonight belongs to being covered. Let's return to the psalm itself and read some of it again, because repetition is not a failure of a prayer. It is often the whole point of one. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. The secret place. Not a location on a map, not a physical building you have to travel to reach. A posture, a nearness, a decision to stay close enough to Him that His shadow is the shape covering you, rather than whatever else has been casting a shadow over your nights lately. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him I will trust. There is something important in the fact that this is spoken, declared, said with the mouth, and not just believed quietly in the mind. Faith that stays entirely internal has a way of getting overwhelmed by louder, more insistent thoughts. But faith that gets spoken, even just to an empty room, even just to yourself in the dark, has a way of standing its ground differently. If you are willing, say it again now, in your own words. He is my refuge. Not might be, not I hope He is. He is. Present tense, true right now, in this exact room, at this exact hour. Surely He shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler. A fowler sets traps for birds specifically, traps designed to look like safety, like food, like rest, until the moment they close. If something in your life right now has looked like relief, but has actually been trapping you deeper, this verse names that pattern and promises deliverance from it, not eventually, but as a settled fact, already true. He shall cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you shall take refuge. Refuge is an active word, not a passive one. It doesn't simply happen to you while you stand still. You take it. There's a small motion involved, a leaning in, a decision to stop trying to shelter yourself with your own strength and instead move toward the covering that's already been offered. Tonight, that motion can be as small as a breath, as small as letting your shoulders finally drop. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. Not your feelings shall be your shield. Not your circumstances looking better shall be your shield. His truth, something fixed, something outside of how tonight happens to feel, something that remains accurate even when everything inside you is uncertain. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night. Let's sit with this phrase one more time because it deserves it. Not, you will never feel afraid. Fear may still visit tonight, may already be sitting in the room with you, but you shall not be afraid of it, meaning it does not get the final vote over how tonight goes. It can knock. It doesn't get to move in and stay. There's a particular kind of exhaustion that comes from fighting fear as if it has more authority than it actually does. This verse is offering you permission to stop treating tonight's fear like the final word on the matter. It isn't. It never was. Nor of the arrow that flies by day, nor of the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor of the destruction that lays waste at noonday. Every hour accounted for, every kind of threat named, morning, evening, the sudden and the slow, the visible and the hidden. There's no gap in this covering large enough for something to slip through unnoticed. Whatever specific thing you are afraid of right now, whatever hour of the day it tends to visit you, it has already been named and already been covered in these verses, written thousands of years before you were born, as if the person writing them somehow already knew your exact fear. 1,000 may fall at your side and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near you. This verse does something important that is easy to miss. It does not deny that 1,000 may fall. It does not pretend the world around you is safe, orderly, free of collapse. It simply promises that whatever falls around you does not have permission to define what happens to you specifically. The chaos can be real, and your covering can be real, at the very same time, in the very same room. Only with your eyes shall you look and see the reward of the wicked. Because you have made the Lord your dwelling place, no evil shall befall you, neither shall any plague come near your dwelling. Your dwelling place. Notice this phrase describes something you actively choose, a decision made and remade, not a one-time event finished in the past. Tonight, you can make him your dwelling place again, even if you forgot to all week, even if today looked nothing like faith. The decision is available again, right now, in this exact moment. For he shall give his angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. They shall bear you up in their hands, lest you dash your foot against a stone. Let's think about the word charge again. In a courtroom, a charge is a formal, specific instruction given by someone with authority to someone required to carry it out. This is not vague spiritual language. It is closer to a legal order. Angels have been formally instructed, specifically, about you, by name, to keep you tonight. You are not managing this season completely alone while heaven remains distant and uninvolved. Something unseen is actively holding what you cannot hold yourself. In every way you cannot see, in every hour you cannot stay awake to guard. You shall tread upon the lion and the cobra. The young lion and the serpent you shall trample underfoot. The lion represents the threat that roars, that announces itself, that you can see coming even if you can't stop it. The serpent represents the threat that hides, that strikes without warning, the kind of danger you don't see until it's already happened. Both, together, end up under your feet in this verse, not because you defeated them with your own strength, but because you were covered by someone stronger the entire time. Whatever has been terrifying you, whether it announces itself loudly or hides quietly, was never as large as it has felt at 3 a.m. Its size was always exaggerated by the darkness around it. In the light of this psalm, it shrinks back down to its actual proportions. Because he has set his love upon me, therefore I will deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. Set on high, not left exactly where the trouble found you, but lifted, positioned somewhere the flood cannot reach, somewhere above the level where the danger operates. This is not a promise that the ground stays the same. It's a promise that you get moved to higher ground, even while everything around you continues shifting. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. Notice how ordinary the request is, and how extraordinary the response is. He shall call upon me. That's all that's required. Not a perfect prayer, not the right words in the right order, not enough faith measured out precisely. Just a call, however broken, however desperate, however late at night it happens to be. And the answer isn't distant or delayed. I will be with him in trouble. Present tense, immediate, already happening the moment the call goes out, before the trouble is even resolved. He doesn't wait for the trouble to end before showing up. He shows up inside it the moment you call. With long life I will satisfy him and show him my salvation. Let's pause here and consider what satisfaction actually means in this verse. Not a life free of hardship, not a life where nothing ever goes wrong, but a life so met, so filled by his presence, that satisfaction becomes possible even in the middle of difficulty. That kind of satisfaction is available to you tonight, in this exact bed, in this exact hour, regardless of what tomorrow holds. If you are carrying fear for someone else tonight, not just for yourself, let this psalm cover them too. A child who is far away, a parent whose health is declining, someone you love who is in danger you cannot fix from where you are right now. Say their name to God, quietly, in your own words. He already knows it, but say it anyway, the way you would say the name of someone you love out loud, just to feel the weight of that love in your mouth. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Let that be true over them tonight, the same way you are asking it to be true over you. There's an old habit, a good one, of ending the day the way this psalm ends its middle section, with a decision to trust spoken out loud, even when nothing around you has visibly changed yet. Not because the circumstances got smaller, because you decided, on purpose, before sleep finally comes, to hand them to someone whose hands are bigger and steadier than yours. So tonight, whatever kept you scrolling long after you should have put the phone down, whatever kept the light on longer than it needed to be, whatever conversation kept replaying in your mind uninvited, let it be still now. You are not managing tonight's fear on your own strength. You never actually were, even on the nights it felt that way, even on the nights you forgot to ask for help at all. Let's read the psalm's final movement now, slowly, because it matters how it ends. Because he has set his love upon me, therefore I will deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life I will satisfy him and show him my salvation. Notice that the psalm doesn't end with the danger removed from the picture entirely. It ends with a relationship, an ongoing conversation between someone who calls and someone who answers, someone who trusts and someone who honors that trust, over and over, night after night, not just once. That's worth sitting with for a moment, because it changes what tonight's prayer is actually asking for. You are not asking for a single, one-time rescue that solves everything permanently, so you never have to pray again. You are stepping into an ongoing relationship, one where calling out honestly and being met faithfully becomes the actual rhythm of your life. Not just tonight, but every night after this one too. Think about what it means that God says, because he has known my name. Not because he never doubted, not because he handled every hard season perfectly, with unwavering faith and zero fear. Because he knew whose name to call when the fear did come. That is the whole qualification. Knowing where to bring it, not managing to avoid it entirely. If tonight has been hard, if this week has been hard, if this whole season has felt like one long unanswered question, you already meet the qualification this psalm describes. You know his name. That's the doorway, and it's already open right now in this exact room. Let's think again about the phrase, dwell in the secret place. There's something worth noticing about how ordinary this sounds. It doesn't say, achieve some rare spiritual height. It doesn't say, finally arrive at unshakable faith. It says dwell, which is a word about staying somewhere ordinary, somewhere you return to again and again, the way you return to your own home after a long day, without needing to justify why you belong there. You belong in that secret place tonight, exactly as you are, with exactly the fear you're carrying, exactly the doubts that showed up uninvited, exactly the version of yourself that woke up at this hour instead of sleeping through until morning like you wanted to. There's a kind of exhaustion that comes specifically from thinking you have to arrive somewhere better, spiritually, emotionally, before you're allowed to rest in him. This psalm doesn't ask that of you. It simply describes what happens when you dwell, when you stay close, exactly as you already are tonight. Think about the image of a fortress one more time, because it's worth returning to before we close. A fortress is not built for peaceful, easy seasons. It exists specifically because something real might try to get in. If your life feels like it requires a fortress right now, that doesn't mean your faith has failed somehow, that you should have reached a place beyond needing protection by now. It means you're living in a season honest enough to need exactly what this psalm offers. There's no shame in needing shelter tonight. There was no shame in it for the person who wrote these words either. Someone who knew real danger, real fear, real nights spent afraid of what the darkness might hold. And still, this is the prayer they left behind. Not a denial of fear, but a place to bring it. If you've been carrying shame about how afraid you felt lately, about how many nights you've needed this kind of prayer instead of feeling strong enough to face the dark on your own, let that shame go tonight. It was never the measure of your faith. Coming back to the secret place, again and again, night after night, is the faith, not the absence of needing to come back. So here is where we land, together, in this exact hour, whatever time it happens to be for you right now. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. That is available to you again tonight, exactly as you are. Let's pray now, together, whatever words feel true for you as we go. Father, tonight we come to you in the exact hour we find ourselves in, whether that's the deep middle of the night, or an early morning that came too soon, or an evening that still feels too heavy to close. Thank you for being a shelter, not a distant observer. Thank you for feathers and wings, for a covering close enough to feel, not a protection managed from somewhere far away. We name the fear that woke us up tonight, whatever shape it takes. The terror by night, the arrow that flies by day, the 1,000 falling at our side, the 10,000 at our right hand. We are not asking you to pretend none of it is real. We are asking you to be the reason it does not reach us the way it wants to. Cover the people we love too, tonight, the ones we can't watch over ourselves right now, the ones far away, the ones sick, struggling, in danger we can't fix. Give your angels charge over them, specifically, by name, the way you have already given charge over us. For every stone we cannot see on the path ahead of us, carry us over it. For every lion that roars and every serpent that hides, let it end up under our feet, not over our heads, the way this psalm has promised us tonight. We call on you now, the way this psalm says to, not with perfect words, not with faith that never wavered today, just with a call, honest and simple. Answer us, Lord. Be with us in this trouble, whatever specific shape it takes tonight. Deliver us and let us know you have. Set our love upon you again tonight, the way this psalm describes. Let us know your name well enough to call on it first, before we call on anything else, before we call on worry, before we call on our own strength, before we call on anyone else who cannot carry what only you can carry. Satisfy us tonight, not with everything resolved, but with your presence, fully here, fully with us, for as long as this night lasts and into whatever tomorrow holds. We let go now of what we were carrying when this prayer began. The specific fear, the specific worry, the specific person we're afraid for, the specific hour that woke us up tonight. We hand it to you, the way this psalm has shown us how, and we ask you to hold it exactly the way you promised. In Jesus' name, we pray. Amen. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. You are covered tonight, not eventually, not once everything gets better. Right now, in this exact room, at this exact hour. Whatever woke you tonight does not get the final word. He does. Rest now. Let your shoulders drop. Let your breathing slow. Let the thoughts that have been circling finally be still. He who keeps you will not slumber. So you can. Rest now. He has you.